Think about slipping what looks like an everyday dime into a vending machine, only to realize it could fetch more than your monthly rent. That thrilling moment of discovery is exactly what keeps seasoned collectors glued to their benches and casual owners checking every pocket change. Today's script peels back the layers on the first of our two spotlight coins, revealing how a humble 1982 Roosevelt dime can transform from a pocket staple into a numismatic superstar. Our first spotlight glints on the 1982 Roosevelt dime issued at Philadelphia. Debuting in the post-silver era, this design carried on the tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt that began in 1946, celebrating his role in founding the March of Dimes and his resilience after battling polio. While clad in a copper-nickel sandwich instead of silver, that switch only added a layer of intrigue for error hunters and condition fanatics alike. With over 500 million pieces minted, most examples remain tucked safely between couch cushions, but a handful of survivors bear secrets that command sky-high prices. At face value, a typical 1982 P-dime and average circulated grades trades hands for mere pennies above 10 cents. Most pieces with light, wear, and minor abrasions rarely crack the $1 mark among dealers. Yet as you climb the grading ladder into mint state territory, values accelerate. A crisp MS-63 example might fetch between $4 and $8. Push into the mid-60s, MS-65 to MS-66, and you're looking at $12 to $25, depending on eye appeal and strike strength. Those grading services like PCGS and NGC transform an ordinary disc into a certified treasure, and collectors will happily pay the premium for that third-party validation. True coin show adrenaline arrives when an MS-67 or higher specimen appears under the hammer. In April of 2014, Heritage Auctions saw a Philadelphia minted 1982 dime in PCGS MS-67 sell for $1,410, setting a benchmark few imagined for this issue. A handful of similar quality survivors trade privately for prices in the low four figures, underscoring how razor-sharp surfaces and flawless rims can rocket value skyward. Yet even more electrifying than pristine high-grade survivors is the elusive no-mint mark error from Philadelphia. In 1982, Philadelphia coins were supposed to carry the P mint mark for the first time on dimes, marking a new era of transparency for the mint. A small batch slipped through without that tiny P above the date, linking back to decades-old minting conventions and a mechanical hiccup that went unnoticed until well after release. Those error dimes, long mistaken for ordinary because of their clad design, suddenly re-emerged as the holy grail of Roosevelt dime collecting. When authenticated, these no-P dimes can topple even your grandest expectations. Experts recently valued one such specimen at $475,000 after a collector found it tucked among everyday change in late June 2025. Another high-end MS-68 no-mint mark piece commanded over $300,000 at auction just weeks earlier. Even circulated examples graded MS-60 to MS-63 may bring $50 to $100, making every pocket search a mini treasure hunt. The gap between a standard Philly dime and its mint mark missing cousin could stretch from a few cents all the way into six figures. Differentiating a true 1982 no-P dime requires a keen eye and ideally magnification. On the obverse, examine the area just above the date. Where the P should perch, you'll find blank metal that matches Roosevelt's cheek. Strike and planchet characteristics otherwise mirror standard Philadelphia issues, right down to the fields and devices. Authentication through PCGS or NGC isn't optional here. With stakes this high, third-party grading is the only way to secure both value and provenance. Outside of that headline-grabbing error, other varieties add nuance to the 1982 dime story. Weakly struck Philadelphia dimes with faint rim bands or softly defined fields can intrigue specialists who chase FS502 or FS501 designations, referencing the specific die pair. Those strong-rimmed survivors in truly gem quality might sell for a few $100s, while FB, full bands, examples make a modest premium over standard strikes. This series rewards patience, observing the subtleties of die polish lines, luster patterns, and cameo contrasts separates casual holders from true enthusiasts. Beyond grading and errors, quirky anecdotes pepper the 1982 dime narrative. A New Jersey collector once traded a mint roll for a vintage watch, only to later discover dozens of mint-state gems mixed in. Another tale tells of a bank teller who noticed a small queue of customers bringing in dime tubes and tipped off dealers after spotting a no mintmark piece, sparking a frenzy at the local coin shop. These stories underscore how luck and persistence often go hand in hand in this hobby. When gauging market trends, notice that interest peaks whenever major news outlets report fresh finds in circulation. After handfuls of no-P examples hit headlines, both seasoned collectors and amateur treasure trawlers swarmed through drawers, rolls, and register trays. Prices for mid-grade circulated 1982 dimes ticked upward for months, though experts caution that too many newly discovered errors could exert downward pressure on certain grades over time. Still, the allure of finding a rare hearth coin has never dimmed. If you suspect you hold a special piece, handle it minimally. Oils and friction can dull luster and induce hairlines, erasing the very quality collectors crave. Store suspected treasures in inert holders or coin flips and resist the urge to clean. A single scratch or improper solvent bath can shave thousands, or even tens of thousands, off a potential sale price. For those error pieces, immediate submission to a grading service will preserve authenticity and ensure the story accompanies the coin to its next owner. With modern platforms bridging buyers across continents, auction houses now host online events where every lot gains global eyes. Whether you can sign a high-grade MS-67 or that incredible no-P rarity, the world marketplace awaits. Tracking recent sale results on PCGS, NGC, and major auction records offers real-time insight. Your coin's value doesn't live in the past, but grows alongside demand among passionate Roosevelt dime devotees. As you round out your collection or embark on the hunt, remember that the 1982 Roosevelt dime sits at a unique crossroads. Its common face value cousins anchor everyday transactions, while the rarest survivors dash dreams of commonality and deliver staggering windfalls. That duality captures why so many collectors, especially those with decades of experience, still pore over dime hoards in search of that singular thrill. We've peeled back history, examined minting quirks, surveyed recent auction benchmarks, and uncovered tales of fateful finds. Next up, another dime with its own set of surprises. But before we shift focus, take a moment to appreciate how a coin barely 17.9 millimeters across can carry so much intrigue, storytelling, and potential fortune in its alloyed layers. Sliding from the thrill of that elusive 1982 no-P treasure, our attention turns to the equally compelling 1984 Roosevelt dime, a coin that on first glance seems unremarkable, yet yields its share of surprises for anyone who pauses mid-roll and takes a closer look. By the mid-1980s, the mint had fine-tuned its clad composition process, resulting in hundreds of millions of dimes that rolled off presses with razor-crisp detail. Yet within those production runs lurk subtle die varieties and eye-catching proof pieces that transform a routine pocket find into a noteworthy numismatic discovery. Back in 1984, the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck roughly 386 million and 178 million dimes respectively, continuing the seamless tribute to FDR with Roosevelt's portrait facing left and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch dancing on the reverse at just under 18 millimeters in diameter. Though silver had been absent for decades, collectors and general circulation alike embraced the familiar design, making change drawer hunts feel like treasure maps. The mint's quality control, however, couldn't curb every anomaly. That era saw the emergence of classic double die obverse, DDO, errors, repunched mint marks, and proof-only cameo contrasts, varieties that today drive seasoned collectors to scour rolls and dealer trays in hopes of encountering that one special disc. Among the most sought-after 1984 errors sits the double die obverse, commonly nicknamed the 1984 DDO. It manifests as a faint but distinct doubling of the date and letters "In God We Trust," with observers noting a ghost-like echo just behind the primary devices. Although not as dramatic as early Lincoln cents, this DDO whispers, "Look closer," to anyone armed with a loupe. Meanwhile, The Denver D mint mark enjoys its own intrigue when repunched, often showing traces of a slightly misaligned D ghost beneath the official mark. When authenticated, these varieties can command multiples of face value, sending values soaring from mere cents into the hundreds. Ordinary circulated 1,984 dimes trade hands for about 20 to 30 cents apiece among dealers, a small premium over face for coins in pleasing condition. In the lightly circulated grades, $50 to $58, prices settle in the $1 to $3 range. Once you cross into mint state territory, values accelerate noticeably. An MS-62 piece might fetch $5 to $7, MS-65 $12 to $15, and MS-67 examples push towards $50 to $75. Eye appeal plays a pivotal role here. Brilliant, lustrous surfaces and strong strikes can command appreciable premiums over average-looking survivors. Examples bearing that elusive double-die obverse shift the market further. A single verified 1984 DDO in MS-64 sold at a major auction for around $350 last year. Proof that subtlety can pay off handsomely when a variety checklist unearths a cataloged error. Collectors often chase the degree of doubling. A sharply struck MS-65 DDO might climb into the $5 to $6 bracket, with top-tier certified specimens occasionally nudging the four-figure threshold when paired with flawless surfaces and vibrant cameo contrast. For those fascinated by proof coins, the 1984 S-proof dime carries its own stories. The so-called cameo proofs, where frosted design elements stand out against deeply mirrored fields, began to capture serious attention in the 1990s, long after initial sale. A PCGS PR70 DCM 1984 S-proof cameo achieved an impressive $1,800 at a recent heritage event, underscoring how condition and contrast conspire to elevate even post-1964 proofs beyond list price expectations. Lesser gems in PR68 to PR69 CM sell in the $150 to $350 range, while standard proofs without cameo designation hover closer to mint set values of $40 to $60. Beyond doubling and cameo, collectors also note the full bands designation on 1984 dimes. Assigned the FS505 die pairing, coins exhibiting full, distinct horizontal bands on the reverse's torch bars bring modest premiums. An MS-65FB example might command $25 to $35 versus $12 to $15 for a non-FB counterpart. That bandwidth may seem trivial, but when chasing registry set completion, every ribbon crisp band counts, and every shard of copper-nickel sandwich detail matters. Stories of unexpected finds inject extra excitement into this series. In early 2023, a railroad engineer in Ohio spotted a dime with unusually grainy frosty lettering and a ghost image date. Subsequent grading revealed it as the elusive DDO variety. Suddenly, conversations shifted from weekend modern coin forums to specialized error coin chat groups. A retired librarian in Florida once uncovered a handful of MS-64 FB specimens tucked amid rolls redeemed at a local credit union. After submission and grading, those coins netted her over $400, a tidy profit for a casual roll hunt. When evaluating a potential 1984 dime treasure, mintmark scrutiny is key. On the obverse, inspect the D at about the 7 o'clock position relative to Roosevelt's profile. Indicators of repunching include wobble-like outlines around the edges of the D or extra metallic vestiges from an original strike. Meanwhile, doubling on the legends requires at least 10 times magnification. Look for parallel strokes or fuzzy shadows trailing letters. Authentication by PCGS or NGC not only confirms the variety, but also locks in an impartial grade, vital for commanding top dollar in today's online auction ecosystem. Market dynamics shift with each headline-grabbing find. After word spread of a handful of DDO specimens surfacing on eBay in late 2024, entry-level values for those errors crept upward by 20%, illustrating how even modest discoveries can ripple through collector communities. Conversely, a batch of full-band submissions in mid-2025 exerted slight downward pressure on upper-grade FB premiums, hinting that supply and demand still govern this landscape more than nostalgia or face value alone. As with any modern clad dime, condition dictates outcome. Overzealous cleaning, particularly with abrasives, obliterates cameo frost and marbles fields, turning a potential PR70 into a stripped-down afterthought. Surface hairlines from improper handling can shave several grades off an MS piece, instantly erasing thousands in value for high-end examples. Slippage-free tongs, inert flips, and controlled humidity storage offer the best defense against environmental threats and mishandling mishaps. For error hunters, the pursuit often melds patience with precision. Modern presses run at astonishing speeds, but every mechanical system leaves its fingerprints in the form of die doubling, misalignment, and fleeting anomalies. Collectors poised with high-quality loupes or digital microscopes catch what casual eyes miss, turning routine change tray pulls into momentous discoveries. The thrill of spotting that ghost date or repunched mint mark creates a bridge between past craftsmanship and today's high-stakes market. Pricing information remains fluid, so tracking live auction results through platforms like Heritage, Stacks Bowers, and certified coin marketplaces supplies invaluable benchmarks. Whether you hold an MS67 FBL FB specimen or that spectacular PR70 DCM proof, contemporary records inform realistic asking prices and bidding strategies. Online forums and collecting groups also aggregate sell-side chatter, though always corroborate anecdotal values with hard auction data before setting reserve prices. With keys to identify doubling, repunched marks, and full bands tucked in your toolbox, each 1984 dime you examine transforms from uniform metal to a nexus of history and possibility. Stories of railroad engineers and librarians remind us that no hunt is too ordinary, and that every coin, no matter how common it seems, offers the chance to unearth something extraordinary. Keep those loops close, maintain disciplined handling, and let each edgewise glance through pocket change serve as a beacon to the next big discovery.